Today's hike brings us to the Patel Trail in the town of Lincoln, Vermont. We are going to attempt to hike Mount Abraham, elevation 4,006 feet, I believe, via this trail and the long trail. Got someone you haven't seen in a while, Mr. Mike.
Hello.
Hello. So, trail, it's got like maybe an inch or two of fresh powder, but it is frozen solid underneath. So, we're not going to wear snowshoes, at least for now. That'd just be overkill. Sticking with the good old spikes. Anyway, first stop, or first major checkpoint, is the long trail in Patel Shelter Junction. Let's do it. Making our way up the Patel Trail. It looks not broken out, which in a way it isn't, but it's hard packed snow and ice, frozen granular underneath, about an inch or two of fresh powder. We'll whip out the snowshoes if we encounter significant drifting. Right now we're gaining some altitude. Gotta get this more moderate section first. Just look like it gets a bit steeper from there. We're definitely gaining some altitude. And there's some cliffs up there, so we'll be gaining even more after this. Ain't a bad trail. I mean, it kind of switchbacks up the mountainside, so it's not like it's relentless steep, which is a plus. Holding up okay?
I think so.
Yeah.
So far.
And the temperature is so mild, relatively speaking, that we're not even hiking in gloves and full-on winter gear. We just got on sweatshirts and thick pants. And of course hiking boots and all that crap. We're starting to begin the ascent up to the ridge crest where the Patel Shelter is. Not much else of note here, although I think there's a frozen stream crossing up there. So anyway, I'll meet you farther up the Patel Trail. Right, the woods definitely look like they're starting to thicken up. That means, I believe we're getting close to the Patel Shelter and the long trail. And I'll meet you closer to it. These woods are actually kind of pleasant. And still a good 1 to 2 inches of fresh powder on the trail. Unless there's some serious drifting near and up at the top, I think it should be fine in light traction. Mr. Mike making his way up. Think you can break the streak of unsuccessful 4K attempts?
I hope so.
Let's find out. Methinks we're farther away from the Patel Shelter and Long Trail Junction than I originally thought. So unless something interesting comes up, I'll meet you there. We reached a junction with the Long Trail North going that way. That's the way we should have came up, but we went way off course, so we actually ended up a bit south of this point. So we're gonna head to the Patel Shelter, recoup there, and then I'll meet you on the way to the summit of Mount Abraham. We've arrived at the Patel Shelter on the Long Trail North, heading towards Mount Abraham. This is one of the many shelters along the Long Trail for thru hikers and backpackers. Looks like a nice place to just settle down, right?
Looks like a nice place for lunch.
Hell yeah, especially if the weather on Mount Abraham is wild. Mount Abraham is that way, 0.8 miles, and apparently they have a toilet there. I don't know if I want to use it, particularly since the door might be blockaded by snow. Nice, nice. They even have a register. Don't want to ruin the wood too much here, so I guess I'll catch you on the way up to Mount Abraham. This trail is untouched, either from the Patel trailhead or the Long Trail trailhead at Lincoln Gap. Wouldn't be surprised if we're the only ones on the mountain this whole time. Just have to wait and see. Alright, the snow is getting deeper, and therefore the trees are getting lower, and the trail is getting more drifted in. So we're gaining some altitude. Anyway, up we go. Wow. Look at this view. Precursor of what's to come once I reach the summit proper. I think over there, or out there might be Killington, I'm not sure. Out there, you're looking toward Lake Champlain, the surrounding communities. Farther out is the high peaks of the Adirondack Mountains in New York. Awesome. Alright, it's getting fairly steep. I think I can feel some wind coming on. Anyway, up to the summit of Abraham, looks like a scramble up there. What did you say? Nothing. Vertical gain boost, hell yeah. Alright, we just got done the super steep but even more super slippery session. Had to go on all fours to get up it. Pretty mellow here, but you know my luck. Anyway, to the summit we go. We've done it. We are standing on the top of 4,006-foot Mount Abraham near the town of Lincoln, Vermont in the Green Mountain Range. This is New England 4,000 footer number 52 for me, and the third one I've done in Vermont overall. Man, there's a Mount Ellen over there. Out there is Lake Champlain. The farther north you go, the wider it gets. Now there I can see toward the high peaks of the Adirondack Mountains in New York, and I think we're staring Whiteface Mountain right in the face. Whiteface because it's covered with snow. Staring in the face. Well, anyway, out there we're looking toward, I believe to be Mount Lusalok, the Franconia Ridge, the Presidential Range, all those peaks in New Hampshire. Mike's playing his ice axe. Don't get too rowdy there. Got a stone fort circle or something out there looking toward the long trail south over Killington Peak. That's far away there. What's closer to us, I don't know, but it was an interesting hike to get here. The first part was kind of easy. I thought it was really easy, but once we hit the long trail after passing Battelle Shelter, it got a little tricky, especially some of the steeper parts where it was sheer ice underneath and I had to use all fours to get myself up. But oh well, I'm gonna butt slide down. And this is me and Mike's first successful summit of a 4K.
That's right.
Last two ended in, I wouldn't say flat failure. We learned something and we got to see some cool stuff, but I'm glad we made it. Now I have one more Vermont peak left for now, which is over there, Mount Ellen. Then I'm gonna go on hiatus, or at least try to, until like May. Then I'm going to tackle the main peaks, and then after I'm done all that, I'm going back for Mansfield, as you can see, hopefully see all the way out there. So far I really liked it, and the summit result was well worth it. We're going to take a breather, maybe a lunch break, either here or at the Battelle Shelter. Then I'll meet you back at the trailhead assuming nothing interesting happens. So we're back at the trailhead on Forest Road 350, I believe it is. Yep, going down took a lot quicker than going up. Took about maybe hour 15 minutes, whereas it took 3 hours to go up. There's my humble abode. My humble abode away from my humble abode. Yep, pretty easy for the most part, except the scrambling near the top, which warranted all fours going on them. But going down those steep parts was a cinch, because they butt slid down most of them. So, round trip distance was 5.8 miles with, I'd say, 2,500, 2,600 feet of gain. So, from the Battelle Trail, from Mr. Mike.
Yes.
And me, see you on my next adventure.